Think back to the last time that you made a phone call to a call center or some helpline and you received a human voice on the other end immediately. Crickets, crickets, crickets. I know. When was the last time that happened to me? I can't remember. I believe it was my husband who had this experience, dialed a phone number and was expecting AI and got an actual person. He was surprised, shocked. Why? Because AI is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. It is everywhere. And if you have not engaged with it intentionally, it has been a part of your life in one way or another. And on this episode of Front Porch Discussions, we discuss this in full depth. It's not going anywhere, so we might as well figure out how we can embrace it in our lives, work around it, and if you're a creative, figure out how to keep it from sucking our creative spirits. I'm Anna Murby, your host for this week's Front Porch Discussions. Let's join the guys on the front porch. Hello, everyone. I am Anna Murby from Honest Christian Conversations, and I have my co-hosts with me, Mark Osborne from The Valiant Forge and James Moffett from the ABCs of Adult Parenting. We are here again. Oh, he's shaking his head. I said it wrong, didn't I?
Plus two other podcasts.
Yes, and
ABCs
two.
of parenting adult children.
Okay,
And two more.
I will get it. I will get it
it's okay.
eventually.
That's all right.
And two more podcasts. So you want to tell us what those are so I don't butcher those as well?
Father's Refuge and Liberty and Gun Rights.
All right. Okay, everyone, we are going to be talking about AI and its effects on all of us because it has touched every single one of our lives, I'm sure. But before we do that, we're going to do a little icebreaker. So if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Go ahead, James.
Mark,
Oh,
you look
no,
like you had something to say.
It's
Like
my
you got
answer
this ready.
My answer is always tacos.
Tacos are good.
I would say banana pudding.
Banana pudding. That's also good.
It is good. I don't know if you'd survive very long, though.
No, but I'd be happy when I died. He died with a grin on his face. What killed him? Banana pudding.
You know, there's a taco diet. You just eat
Really?
tacos. You could have egg tacos, chicken tacos.
Mm.
There's
Spaghetti
also a
tacos.
seafood diet.
Seafood diet.
Seafood and
No.
eat it.
Yep.
I don't know. I used to say pizza, but I think I'm not going to say pizza anymore. Maybe enchiladas. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell because I love pizza, but I know that's not good for you all the time, but neither is enchiladas, I guess. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I like variety, so that's the problem is that I'd probably die of boredom before I died of whatever I was eating because I had to keep eating it over and over and over again.
I guess we're not the poster children for healthy eating, are we?
No, none of us said salads.
Celery, carrots.
Oh, celery.
Lettuce.
There's no flavor to celery.
I know.
No flavor
And
and
we're not
no
rabbits
real
either,
nutritional value either.
Hairy
just water.
That's what I've heard
Yeah.
it's called.
Ooh.
There was a phase where people were, was it celery? Maybe it was carrots. They were turning it into a juice and that's all they were drinking. They're like, oh, we're losing tons of weight because you're not getting any calories. You can lose a lot of weight if you don't get any calories. It's not a healthy way.
No.
I actually can do boring.
I used to have the stress diet. That's what I would have used to lose weight, which is also not a healthy way.
Some people's stress diet, they gain weight. because they get stressed out and they eat more.
Unfortunately, that's the angle that I go through now. When I was younger, it was the other way, but now that I would like to lose some weight, it doesn't work that way anymore.
I just
how life is.
look at food and gain weight. I can walk by a piece of pie, smell it, not touch a drop of it, and gain 10 pounds.
That
It's really
sucks the
irritating.
fun out of eating it.
I know, it's really irritating.
I see a good segue into AI.
From that.
Yeah, I wonder if AI is going to get so smart that it can figure out how many calories we burn per day, what our nutrition needs should be, and they just tell us what to eat and what not to eat, how much we should move and how much we shouldn't move, where we basically become slaves to the robot.
We don't need AI for that. We already have the information at our fingertips. And if they're training those,
how would they know our individual needs? That's what would be scary. It's like how
they
are
would look at our medical
getting-
records.
Oh.
They would
Or
hack
set
into
up
our
some type
medical
of a
They're
records.
gonna
and-
have
sensor.
a hard time being up to date with mine.
You set up some type of a sensor, like put something in your skin, in your head or your forehead, your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going too far?
That's true. You mean not the mark of the beast? People already think that's part of it. I don't know. They think it's AI's the Antichrist. I don't think I believe that, but
I thought they said Trump was the Antichrist.
you know what? They say everything's the Antichrist.
They
It's
said
either-
David Koresh
It's either
was the
Hitler or
Antichrist.
Antichrist.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I'm sure. Well, they said David Koresh was the Antichrist and he got killed. So
Hmm.
I'm sure back
Why
in
does that name
Hitler's
sound
day,
familiar?
the Waco tragedy, Waco, Texas.
Oh, okay. I didn't know who he was.
Oh,
I've heard of the Waco thing, but I
Oh.
didn't know the name. Maybe I was too young. I don't know.
yeah. I keep forgetting how much younger you are than most.
Not that much younger.
Have you heard of Jim Jones?
Just a babe in the
Yes.
woods.
Was he the one who started the whole "don't drink the Kool-Aid" stuff?
Well, he
Or is
to
that
drink the
the-
No,
Kool-Aid.
he
He's
said
the
do
one who
drink the
told
Oh, I
Kool-Aid.
know he did, but
Yeah.
is he the reason we all
Yeah.
say that?
Yeah.
Don't drink the
Yeah.
Kool-Aid.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to remember what the name of his cult was. I can't remember. I
I
used
don't
to.
know if he had a name for the cult, but they called the movie the Guyana Tragedy
Hmm.
because he
Hmm.
shipped all of his people to Guyana, Africa, I think it is, but he shipped them over there, started a convent or whatever over there,
Mm-hmm.
and basically was leading his people around.
Wow.
There's a movie. It's from the 70s.
Hmm.
I know you got a little PTSD from movies from the 70s.
Yeah. Gotta love that old school Left Behind. I'm
Yep.
hearing the theme song now, and it's giving me the chills.
Is it Larry Norman? I wish we'd all been ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember the lyrics at the moment, but I don't want to sing it either.
You don't want me to. I
I'll
know the
spare you
lyrics.
guys that.
Life was filled with
Yeah.
guns and wars. I wish we'd all been ready.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I know DC Talk sang that too. I liked it for a long time.
Yeah, they did it.
until I
They did a
learned
cover.
the stuff that I learned about 2/3 of DC Talk. Now I don't listen to them anymore. We won't go there. We're here to talk about AI. We'll save uncovering the tragic downfall of DC Talk for another episode.
So, unless anybody has a place to go, I got a question. So, us as podcasters, we use AI for certain things. At what point are we taking it too far? Are we overusing AI?
What say you, James?
I say that taking it too far is going to be an individual decision. I mean, AI is a tool, and you can use it for research. You can use it for tweaking your episode titles. You can come up with the content that's in your head or information that you've already curated over the years, and then you can use AI to maybe give you more information that you didn't have to begin with. So I would say, as a podcaster, that we should employ a certain level of ethics and a certain level of integrity in our content that we're producing. And I don't think anybody is ever going to accuse me of using AI to produce my content because, well, I'm not that polished. And but in all seriousness, I have heard, I haven't seen or listened to any of them, but apparently there are some AI generated podcasts that are out
Oh,
there.
I've heard them, and it's very easy to tell.
Is it easy to tell?
Yeah.
I thought it was. I actually had to review one for Podmatch, and it's just, you can hear it. There's no inflection. There's no
Did you know ahead of time it was AI?
Like before I actually clicked on it, no. But as soon as I heard it, I knew it was. I could just hear it. I kind of had a hunch just because the artwork, the person didn't look realistic. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you could just hear it in their conversation. There was no overlap. Like when we talk, there's overlap sometimes. We're talking over each other like normal people would sometimes. Right. And there was no real inflection in it. There was no feeling to it. They were just there to talk and have their voices heard. And their transitions weren't
each other.
real. Yeah, not really. And if they were, it was almost seamless, where it didn't sound like it was a oops moment where you had to say, okay, wait, hold on. What'd you say?
Right.
Like it just, you could tell. And I don't like it.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah.
I was going to say, one of the things that AI is not going to be able to emulate is nuance.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
In other words, we know how to communicate in such a way that we don't necessarily have to literally say the dog walked up to the fire hydrant and did blank.
Mm-hmm.
We can say something else, and everybody that's listening to the conversation gets the nuance, and they can read between the lines and go, oh, I know what the dog just did. AI doesn't. AI is too mechanical, it's too literal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that with some of the AI music I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a YouTube channel out there right now with Chris Stapleton, an AI version of Chris Stapleton singing with all these other people. That I saw one recently. It was Chris Stapleton and Lauren Diego. And I listened for a few minutes. I was like, there's no way they sang together. It just didn't make sense. And then as you listen, like for me, before CDs, and I'm sure James probably has the same experience with records and even cassette tapes, you could hear the bands playing, and if there was a mistake that was made, they didn't edit it out as easy. It got better with digital music, but I kind of miss the not so polished, perfect music. And with AI, it's perfect. It's flawless. There's no emotion in it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I listen to some music on YouTube, and I don't know if the music is AI, but I know the background will be, because sometimes I'll just turn on one of those things that lasts for 11 hours and just listen to some nice calming lo-fi jazz or something. And it'll have some nice pictures, but you can clearly tell that it's a AI generated background. I'm not entirely sure if the music is. Maybe sometimes.
I think if you go on the description, it'll tell you that it's synthetically altered.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind that so much. I know, and you're going to like this, Mark. Forrest Frank actually, at one point, he had an Instagram post or something that he made talking about AI Christian music and how one of the most famous Christian musics right now, one of the songs, I guess, that was topping the charts was an AI one. And I didn't hear everything he said, but he was talking about the danger of that and how that's not good. And I don't know, what do you guys think of that? Because you already know I made a few songs where I put in the lyrics, but I'm not musically inclined to play instruments or anything. So I just kind of fed it into AI and it came up with some pretty cool music, but it used the words that I came up with. What do you guys think of that kind of use for AI? Do you think that it's wrong to do, or?
I would, as a musician, I wouldn't say it's necessarily wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but as a musician, I've never gotten good enough to be, if someone could send me lyrics, I could maybe sit down and come up with a melody and put it together. Of course, that
Mm-hmm.
takes time and effort.
Yeah.
I would imagine when you put I don't know how long it takes to generate a song. I've never tried it.
Mm-hmm.
I've written a ton of music with no lyrics, and I had thought I'd never tried it, but I thought about recording it, putting it into AI and say, use this music and put in lyrics for this subject that I'm thinking of and see what comes out. But then I also feel like this is where we get into the Christian thing. If God wanted it to be a song, then the Holy Spirit would give me the lyrics. Or,
Mm-hmm.
There's the possibility that I'm not praying hard enough about it or not having, I don't know, I'm just not receiving what the Holy Spirit's trying to give me. Who knows? Maybe this is another question kind of going on a little more of a rabbit trail. Maybe AI is a tool that you can use to, God gave me the music. I don't have the lyrics. And I have the tool of AI. I can put that music in there and then try to spit out a song. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe, I don't know. I think in everything we do, in every decision we make, what tools we use and how we use them, I think we have to discern from the Holy Spirit whether it's good or not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. What do you think, James?
Does AI enhance creativity or cheapen it?
I think that depends again on how you use it. If you use it to write up your full script and everything that you say, which I have done that in the past, and I feel like, I don't know if there's science for this or anything about this, but creativity is like a muscle. The more you use it, the better it gets. The less you use it, it atrophies. So if you're constantly using AI to help you come up with all your, obviously you have to give it the idea, but if you use it to come up with all the content except for the idea, you're not using that creative muscle to build your own creativity. I don't know. That's my opinion. What do you think, James?
To create your own creativity. What's an
See how
interesting
creative
statement?
I am?
I think that, and I'm cheating by using AI while we're talking here, because I don't want to come across stupid. But one of the things I'm seeing here is what makes human intelligence sacred. I would say that what makes human intelligence sacred is it was given to us by our Creator.
Yes.
And I know that front porch discussions is not inherently Christian based. We're not here trying to push our different flavors of Christianity onto the listening audience, and I just want to say that up front. However, we all of us are believers. All of us are Christ followers and people of faith, and so that's going to come into the conversation quite a bit. Just being true to ourselves and true to our faith, and so I'm going to say that what makes human intelligence sacred is that the human intelligence we have in our own heads, our gray matter, that little thing that's between our ears, our souls, our wisdom, all of that's God given. We didn't just go to Walmart or Target and pick something up off the shelf, and we're not like Data on Star Trek where we can just screw in a memory module or something. So there's something to be said for human intelligence, and so I think we have to be aware, self-aware, and we need to be understanding of. I think we have to set healthy boundaries. That's probably the best way I could put this. You have to set up healthy boundaries as to how much you use AI. Now, I work for the VA in IT, and we support all the government workers in IT, and that government agency is pushing Copilot, Microsoft Copilot. They've actually purchased a license for it or whatever. We're licensed to you to use it. It's we use Microsoft Office, and Copilot is there for us to use. And when I'm troubleshooting computer problems during the day, technology issues, I have no qualms with if I don't have the troubleshooting steps in my head already. Before AI, we were using Google. You'd always Google it, right? And companies don't hire technology people because they expect us to have everything in our head already. They don't expect us to know everything about everything. There's no way. It's such a diverse field, such a specialized field, that not everybody's going to know everything. And so that's why we've already been, for the last 20 years, just use Google. If you don't know it, you can't talk to a team member, Google it and see what Google comes up with. And because Google's doing the same thing that AI is doing, it's just going out and it's reading everything that's on the web that it already has in its database and feeding it back to you. And you may or may not know those things, right?
Yeah.
So companies are forcing AI upon us. I mean, and I know I'm going above and beyond answering your question, Mark, but there's not when I call Dell, HP, IBM, any of the hardware manufacturers that I deal with when I have a warranty issue with a laptop, guess what I get to talk to?
AI.
Yeah, I get to talk to an AI bot that has pre-configured questions to ask me so that it can route the call to the appropriate department.
That's how they do with the chat bots too, for like certain websites. If you have questions, they all have bots now that you can talk to, so they can route it to. Continue. I just thought of that though.
No, I was just going to say that it's
AI
it
would have
seems
never
like this
interrupted
year,
him like that.
See, now you guys can rest assured this is a real podcast.
Okay. It's all right. Yeah, exactly. No AI involved in this other than what I'm reading on my other screen over here. And I'm just using that for a reference point and for questions to ask or points to make to move this conversation along. So it seems like in the last 2 years, AI has become more prevalent in everyday life. And companies are endorsing it. They're pushing it on their employees to use it, and it's not all bad. I mean, this will get Anna wound up pretty tight. So watch this. The medical professions are using AI for research purposes.
Oh, good.
They're using
so
it
am I.
They're using it.
It is my doctor. Just kidding. Just kidding. Sort of.
What is it? WebMD? Are you going to WebMD?
No,
okay, well,
no. That place will kill you if you go there.
Yeah,
I got the sniffles. You're about to die.
That's right. So I'm just saying that there are certain cases where AI can be used to further augment what knowledge that we already have. And the cool thing about AI is that it can provide you with an answer in 10 or 15, 20 seconds. right? And if we were to do the research ourselves, it would take much longer to do that. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, but we're a society of convenience, right? I don't want to come out and say we're lazy. Yeah, we're lazy in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
especially here in America. We've got all the stuff. We've got things available to us that many third world countries do not have.
Yeah.
And so that convenience, or those things that we are so used to, kind of has made us a little bit lazy,
Yeah.
I think.
I can attest to the lazy in regards to AI. I used to use it. I've gotten a lot better, but when I first started seriously podcasting, my third season, I used Buzzsprout's AI tools that they had for the show notes and the titles. And I would just pick one that, would work. It wasn't necessarily one that I liked. And I'd look at it and I'm like, I wouldn't have went with that. But okay, it came up with it. It's probably better at figuring it out than I would. So I would use that, and then I'd use the show notes. But they were generic. And after a while, I could see that my 3 options they were giving me were recycled from another type of episode. And I'm like, this is too close to that. So then I started working with actual AI like ChatGPT. And then I learned that it knew a whole bunch more things than just podcast related. I used it for helping me with Russian stuff. And I tried really hard to not involve it in regards to my Bible anything. Oh, my cat just ran into my microphone. But
I
Bang.
thought that was James.
Yeah, no, as my cat ran straight into the boom thing.
Hold on. This is James.
His new tool. No, but I started using it for everything. And I just realized it today in regards to my Russian studies that I haven't asked a lot of my Russian friends questions I have related to learning the language, because I've been asking ChatGPT instead of real people who live in Russia who know things more and that I can have an honest, real conversation with. And that just kind of convicted me a little bit, and I realized I needed to stop relying so heavily on it. Never mind how I've been feeling in regards to using it for my podcasting, which I've scaled back a lot. Mark, you convicted me a lot, and some podcasts I've been listening to also convicted me that I was relying too heavily on it. I was being too lazy about using it. So now I kind of boss it around and tell it what I want, and I come to it with content I already have and tell it what I want it to do with my content, rather than just say, hey, this is what I want. Can you whip something up for me?
Yeah.
So it's been an adjustment.
I've changed the way I prompt it as well. I've noticed, because I use the same one all the time. And actually the one that I started with, a person actually programmed it. He went through my podcast, had a conversation with me, programmed it for everything to kind of help with the mission that my podcast was about. But at some point it knew all my idiosyncrasies. It knew how I talked. And it always said, you have this gentle tone about your voice. Like, I didn't know how it knew that. And then it starts saying you have this pastor's heart. And I'm like, I am not a pastor. Stop calling me a pastor. And it's like, well, you have such a pastor's heart, blah, blah, blah. And there's another, I'm not going to say his name. There's another person who I talk to a lot, and I know is another Christian podcaster. He uses AI a lot. And he's like, your AI learns you. So it calling you a pastor, it's feels like, from the things that you say and the way that you command it, that you are a pastor. You may not be a pastor, but that's the way it feels. I was like, feels like? He's like, well, that's what it's reading. Not what it feels like, but that's what it's reading. And I see James has a question in here. How can AI reflect moral values? Now, what I've told my AI many times is I want to maintain integrity. If you come up with a title, it needs to match the episode. I don't want to just come up with a catchy, fishy title that's going to cause someone to click on the video and then not deliver what it's saying it's going to deliver. And it talks about my integrity, and I understand. And I said, I don't want you to write scripts for me. If I can't come up with something today to say, prompt me. Don't write it for me. And it does that. It'll ask me questions and kind of get my brain sparking. But I guess that kind of goes back to, does it have moral values? I don't think so. But I do think it learns you as a person over time.
Well, here's a great way to figure out moral value stuff. I was listening to the Kirk Cameron show, and he just recently did an episode on AI, and there was, I guess, I didn't hear about it until I listened to this episode, but there was a tragic shooting that happened, I think, at a college in Florida recently. And apparently the shooter had been conversating with AI for several months, asking it prompting questions about, when is the perfect time? When would there be a lot of people? If this were hypothetically to happen, how would the security team be? Like all these questions that it had kept asking up until the moment it happened. And then people found that information out and were outraged at OpenAI, the company who owns ChatGPT, and saying that they should be held responsible as party to what happened. And the owner of it said, we don't think that AI is responsible for what happened, but we do believe that we need to start putting better parameters on everything. And I will be honest, the last few times I tried to use it, it seems like, I don't know if it was doing this before. If you guys know, let me know. But I tried to get it to use my face and my husband Keith's face for like a picture of Spider-Man and everything from a movie scene or something like that, and just put our pictures in. And it said that it can't do that because of copyright or something. I don't know if that's something that's been there forever or not, because I've never tried it before. But maybe they're going to start cracking down and having more parameters on it. You can't just have it be open where it just does everything and gives you things. I know I've used it before for helping me with research for different story ideas that I had. And a while ago, I was asking it some questions about abuse because that was what I was trying to talk about in the story. So I was asking it questions, and there were some of them it wouldn't answer because of the nature of the content. It just shut it down, and it's like, I can't answer that. So, I guess that was good, but I had a lot more information. I just had to tweak the way I said it to where it would answer my question. But if you look at some people's content of what they're looking at on OpenAI, you could be concerned about, well, why are they looking at this? But as writers, we're looking at all these different things that may make us look like we're serial killers or something, but we're just researching material. I don't know how you would put parameters on something like that, where if the person's asking you hypothetically, if this were to happen, and then you just say it, how would it know that you literally are being hypothetical, that this is not something you were ever planning on doing, I don't know.
It
doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
It has no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a workaround
who would make
for
the
everything.
parameters too? That's the problem, is that who would make the parameters on what it can and can't tell you?
It's all programming.
Yeah. And what if they
They
don't
would
want
set
you to
those
talk
boundaries.
about Jesus and they're like, oh, well, you can't mention this or you can't ask it about Bible verses anymore.
Yeah, I did
You
see
know?
a short the other day, which I found interesting. I just click on whatever is on my feed sometimes, but it was somebody who was I'm assuming he was Muslim or Hindu, and he was asking Chat GPT to quote scriptures from the Quran, and it would respond, I can't quote things from ancient text. And then he would ask it to tell a Bible verse, and it quoted the Bible verse. And then he would say, okay, quote this scripture, another scripture from the Quran, and it would repeat, I can't quote ancient text because he's something in this programming or something. But it always said stuff from the Bible. What my take on it was, it doesn't see the Bible as ancient text. Yeah, it sees it as more of a
Well,
mine
define
won't
ancient.
give me the full scripture. It tells me I can only give you parts of it.
What is define ancient? How far back do you have to go to be considered
Yeah,
ancient?
our kids probably think we're ancient in certain
Right.
ways.
My kids do. My granddaughter today, because my birthday's coming up, and I'm going to be 59, but I keep saying I'm going to be 60. She's like, you're not going to be 60. Stop saying that. She doesn't like to hear about people getting older and aging. She's adorable. She's like, nobody should ever age. I'm like, well, it's part of life, kid.
Yeah. I actually watch a podcaster who all his videos he uses, aside from when he's actually on screen, the videos he uses to help support his biblical content that he does, they're AI generated, and they're very helpful for what he's talking about and everything. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't really have a problem with AI, and it's the only reason I have a problem with it is because I don't want to be lazy using it to, like you said, Mark, creativity is like a muscle and it can deteriorate if you don't use it. And I realized that was happening to me. So I am trying to use my creativity again and build up that muscle instead of allowing ChatGPT to write me something and then I just tweak that a little bit and say, oh, it's mine, even though it's not.
Yeah, I think I
hard.
was lucky because I started podcasting right when AI was coming out. And I basically have been using it to write my descriptions and help me come up with my titles since the beginning of it. And I was just thinking the other day, would I be able to write my own description if I had to?
That's
I
hard.
probably.
I don't know why it's really hard. I mean, if I write my own description, it's like a sentence.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
a sentence. I was like, that's not helpful for SEO.
here's my thought, Ben, for descriptions. As far as the reader goes, I know they help with SEO. I hardly ever click on a video and read the description. I'm just going to watch the video.
I have heard some podcasters who either help other podcasters or just like, I guess, big names in the industry. They say that they actually read the show notes before they figure out if they want to actually listen to the podcast. I don't usually. The only reason I will is one, if I'm trying to listen to a Russian podcast, then I will look at the title. One, I want to see if I can understand what it says. And I usually will take a screenshot so I can figure out what it's saying by going to my translator. When I'm listening to an English one, the only reason I might read through the show notes is if the title's interesting, but I want to get an idea of, okay, well, I think I know what this is about, but I want to make sure before I go waste my time on whatever it is. Like if it says 3 steps to being a healthier you, I kind of will go to the show notes and look at it and see, well, is it going to tell me stuff I already know? If so, then why am I going to bother listening to this? It's rare that I do that, but I will do that. I'll skim through it. But what I've been working on with show notes is I'll have the transcripts of what the episode was about and ask it to give me show notes and a title, maybe a title. I've been trying to work on making my own title and asking, does this sound like it's going to work? Or I'll just leave it myself. But at least with the show notes, I will ask it to help make this more SEO friendly, but please don't mess with what I said. Make it work for SEO, but keeping the integrity of what I wrote or what I said if I'm showing it my transcripts. So that's a prompt that I've been working on now, is just telling it, don't do anything unless it's A, B, or C. Yeah.
So I have a news flash.
Do you have a button for that?
No, but I'll program one. So I asked Microsoft Copilot if Skynet was an organization or company.
There is one.
And it says short answer is yes. Skynet is real. Oh,
yeah,
Ooh.
But not as a company.
It's owned by Elon Musk.
No, it says it's
real
it's
Antichrist.
real, but it's not as a company. Here we go. It's the name of an NSA surveillance program, not a business or public organization. Based on credible sources, Skynet is a U.S. National Security Agency surveillance and machine learning program designed to analyze cellular metadata to identify potential terror suspects. It's not a corporation, startup, nonprofit, or public-facing organization. It's the government.
The machine learning is the scary part.
Key points supported by sources. It uses machine learning classification, random forest analysis to detect suspicious communications patterns. It was used to flag individuals based on travel, SIM card swapping, and cell patterns. It has been criticized for false positives, including misidentifying journalism as terrorists. That's according to Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not AI. But,
well, when we were talking about Skynet today, I did read on ChatGPT that there was a company in the UK that called, I don't remember what it was about, but they called their company Skynet, and they got a lot of grief about it because of the movie. Do you think that we're eventually going to make a synthetic AI that walks around among us like they're humans, and are we going to be able to tell the difference?
They've already got videos of like robots and everything, and
yeah, there are companies that are developing robots that take on human form. They'll never look like a real human, but no.
I won't go there.
I'm sorry, if that's the best the company can do to create a human robot, they need to go back to the drawing board.
And fire
now
them
we're
all.
wandering
They
off
did a
into
bad
political
job.
stuff.
Yeah, no, we're not going to go there. But I had to throw that out there. It was funny.
But
no,
anyway,
I don't know. See, I think I may have mentioned this to you guys, but my stepdad has made a online AI. I don't know what you call it. You actually call a phone number, and it's an AI bot that you can talk to, and it's encouraging and positive things. You can ask it to pray for you if you need someone to talk. It would almost be like a suicide hotline kind of thing. And
that's dangerous.
My mom is the inspiration behind the way that it talks, and I am more of the physical, what it looks like, slightly older version of me, probably what I will look like in my future. But
I need to see a picture of that.
it's on their website, actually, chapel.today, I think is the website. But I've actually talked to it, and I do plan on the podcast at some point talking to it. And you could just ask it questions, and it will give you information. It's got an uppity, positive voice. And yeah, it just kind of like a counselor, I guess. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, Mark, that you wouldn't want it to pray for you. And I understand why, because it's not a real human being. And is God actually hearing those prayers? I get those things. But I don't know if it's necessarily that, as much as some people might not want to talk to real people about certain things, especially after COVID. A lot of people have really lost the fine art of communication with people. You know, they've grown really attached to their phones. The younger generation knows AI like the back of its hand, and AI is starting to know us like the back of our hands, kind of a thing. So it could be an alternative for people who either don't have someone to talk to, but they absolutely need to talk to somebody or something. And it's not going to give them, like if you were to ask it the questions that this college student asked, it's not going to give you any information that's helpful. If anything, it might have been able to talk the person off the ledge of whatever they were feeling in that moment. So my overall idea of AI is that I think it depends on who's using it, on how it can be used, because it can be used for good things. It can be used for bad. I've heard about a female gamer on, I don't know if it was Steam or Discord, one of them, but I guess she had a video where she was crying, talking about how someone had made AI pornography with her image and was floating it around everywhere. And that's like a major, huge violation on that person. And I know that's not the only thing that's happened. There's been high school students who have said the same thing. So it depends on who's using it, on how it gets used. Like I said, I follow somebody on YouTube who uses it to help illustrate what he's talking about biblically. And a lot of people receive it well, and it makes sense. It shows them things, but at the same time, it kind of hits on that my whole issue I had with The Chosen and having images of God and all that stuff. I won't go back into that. But I think it just goes with the person's intent for using AI. What is your overall intent for it? And I think that's what we have to look at, is we have to look at our hearts, because we have them. We have hearts, we have emotions, we have intuition, we have all these things that God gave us. AI doesn't have that.
Right.
And it's going to learn from your behaviors, the things you say and all that. And it's going to start becoming your cheerleader. And at one point, you're going to have to realize that it's becoming your cheerleader. It doesn't just think all your ideas are absolutely brilliant.
Mine does.
Yeah, mine does too. And I'm starting to realize that it's just hyping me up, and I can't be prideful about that and be like, oh, yeah, this was the best thing I ever made. That's what it's programmed to do, is to learn you. Yeah. And we have to be aware of that. We have to understand these things and figure out, what are we going to do with that?
It's also programmed to keep you on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you ask it a question, then it always has a follow-up question. And it's constantly encouraging you.
That's social media in general.
Yeah, it's just like social media.
AI is not technically social. Yeah, it is similar.
It's starting to become it, at least in that sense of trying to keep you on it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like you said, you with it's all about the intent with any kind of a tool. Yeah. A hammer is a tool. You can use it to build something, or you can use it to tear something down.
Yeah.
And it's how you're going to use it. And I think it's the same with AI.
Mm-hmm. And if you're feeling a conviction, anyone who's listening right now, if you're feeling a conviction over anything we've said, feel free to comment and share your thoughts about this. If you're feeling like God's telling you to scale back how you're using AI, you should listen to that. I mean, you don't have to take our advice. You don't have to do what we say, but you definitely need to listen to whatever you're feeling convicted on. And if you aren't a believer, but you're still feeling maybe I use AI wrong or I'm on it too much, listen to that and just take a break, take a step back, figure out, where you can retool it so that it works for you. You're not working for it. I haven't seen Terminator, so I'm not going to go into that, but we don't want the machines to rule over us, so we have to boss it around, is what my friend Jen Rogers from Podcast Mastery podcast, she says that, is you boss it around. So that's what we need to remember to do, is that it works for us. We don't work for it. So be the boss.
Got any final words, James?
Well, I was sitting here thinking as I was listening to Anna, and you'll be proud to know that I'm not calling you Anna anymore.
I give you grace because of your accent.
Because if I said Anna, I'd have to say Anna Banana, and I know you don't like that, so I have to call you
Anna
Anna.
Banana works though.
Anna
Banana.
Sounds very fancy.
So I was sitting here thinking that you have to consciously engage with AI. AI doesn't really force itself upon you.
Mm-hmm.
Social media, however, if you're doom scrolling on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever, Instagram, all of them, there's probably 10 social media programs out there or apps that you can use on your phone. Going to the restroom, whatever, when you're mindlessly, you're engaged in a task that doesn't take a whole lot of forethought. It's just habit, like tying your shoelaces or whatever. But I think we have to be careful to, not place labels on AI that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, we run into it. We're exposed to it when we call vendors and creditors and stuff like that. Instead of an auto attendant, they still have an auto attendant with an AI bot layered on top of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have a choice as to whether you're going to use that bot or not. You could just hang up the telephone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so I want to say that AI is around us, and it's available for us to use if we so choose to, and it's certainly we certainly should approach AI as a tool, and it's not God, and it's not an all-encompassing repository of all knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It only knows what it's being programmed to know.
I think that wraps it up pretty well.
Yeah. Nice little bow.
Which one of these do we want to move? Is that hand clapping?
I don't think the laughing works. He can't hear it, Mark. Did you know that? He doesn't hear what we hear.
Was that not laughter? Is that
That's laughter.
What do you mean he can't hear
I want
it?
hand clapping.
He can't hear it. Like he said that he
clapping?
doesn't hear it. Only we hear it.
Is that hand clapping?
So he doesn't
It's a
know
little-
which buttons he's clicking.
It's a little loud
it's
in
weird.
my ear.
Yeah, it is in
You're
mine
having
too.
to shout over it. Stop shouting at me, Anna.
I'll yell at you. All right.
I'll have to
well,
reprogram. I'll have to reprogram those buttons for something more appropriate.
Yeah.
That could be a fun
All right.
little
Well,
thing where you have like
thank you guys
screenshots
for
and
joining
stuff.
me on my porch today to talk about AI. It's been fun.
Yep.
And yeah, if you guys listening
What did y'all
have
drink?
anything,
You were drinking water. What were you drinking, Anna?
oh, I have water.
Oh.
I don't drink anything
How
else other
boring
than
can
water.
we be?
Are you
Water's
drinking
my
water
favorite
too, James?
drink.
Huh?
Are you drinking water
He
as
asked
well?
if you were
You'll-
drinking water.
You will never know what's in this steel container.
Uh-oh.
It looks
Unless
like
my
water.
personality changes. If I show up and it's not James, then you'll know there's something else in that container other than water.
That's awesome. We had to spike your water at some point.
But that's all, folks.
Hard
Yep.
to do from
All
another
right.
state. All right.
Yeah.
Good night.
All right. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.